I would like to move quickly to what others see about you. This is the only school that I know that has so much government involved in Tuskegee. I talked to some high school students, and the first thing they told us today when I asked them, what did you want to be? They said, I'm going to be in the Air Force. I'm going to be in the Navy. I'm going to be this. See, you do not want to be in an army to fight unjust wars for the rich. You are to be a soldier for Christ. See, young people, black, white, and brown, are dying in Afghanistan and dying in Iraq and dying in other places on the basis of a lie told by our government. Am I lying? See, truth is hard, isn't it? Yes, everybody in the government lied. Everybody. They wanted to get rid of a dictator. Isn't that what they told you? Well, why don't you tell the truth, America? You wanted the billions of gallons of oil that were under the foot of the Iraqi people. So you went to war to destroy that nation under shock and awe. Is this too much for you? Well, I have to tell you, whether I'm frightening you or not, you're going to face something terrible in a few days. You've got to be warned. Now, I was pleased to see the government, all the different agencies of the government, giving money here. They say for research. Okay, I hope so. See, but your former slave masters don't give you money without having another purpose beyond what they tell you. See, if hello, yes, temperamental, you know. Now, you have to remember history to guide you in the way you think. See, it's all right to think that people have changed, but you should not go to sleep. You got to watch the change. Now, you all voted for Barack. This is a red state. The mayor informed me that the Republicans are making you suffer for your vote for Barack. So we've lost over 2,000 jobs in Macon County. Why? Because they haven't changed. See, a smile don't mean that I changed. A pat on the back doesn't mean that I've changed. See, atonement, as given to us by Reverend James Luther Bevel, atonement means that somebody got to point out the wrong. See, and if you are not courageous enough to say, well, look, this is what you've done. And if they are not courageous enough to say, oh, yes, I am so sorry. Now look at that. President Clinton apologized for the Tuskegee experiment. You know what the Tuskegee experiment was? How many of you are familiar with that? You all are, right? What did you learn from it? Somebody unknown to the blacks who were victims, were injected with syphilis under the guise that it was something good for them. Don't you ever forget it. Now I went to your museum and I see the cells of a sister of ours. HeLa cells. And we're bragging, you know, yes, you know, we're on the cutting edge of something. Yes, you sure are. See, but what are you developing with it? Well, we have to protect the women from sexually transmitted diseases. Well, if you're so good at it, why is the black community, the black woman, the #1 carrier of the AIDS virus? You tell me why, if it's to aid us in finding the cure for cancer. In the 60s, cancer was a white man's disease. But today, we lead in all areas of cancer. Tell me why. So the cells of our sister are here, and they're all over the world, and I hope they're going to do good with them. But you got to watch as well as pray. See, the Indians were cold, and they were offered blankets. And smallpox was in the blankets. See, they always come with something positive, like you do when you go fishing. You get a fat worm, but you hide the hook in the worm. The fish loves the worm, and you love the fish. If you took a naked hook out there, you'd never catch any fish. So you have to put on the hook something that the fish likes. I was in Zimbabwe, and Robert Mugabe told me how the whites own hundreds of thousands of hectares of land. And they fought, and they were about to win, and they were called to London. And the British started negotiating. Well, look, if you're going to take the land, you have to pay the farmers. Mugabe and then Nkomo said, no, we're not paying. They took our land. So Jimmy Carter and the people in London said, okay, we'll pay. They did it for a while, but then they stopped. And when Mugabe was the darling of the Commonwealth nations, until some of the soldiers that fought alongside him came to him and said, look, we didn't fight for them to keep the land. We fought to get the land back that belongs to us. See, all wars that have been fought over land. And the moment he started taking back the land, he was a hater. He was no good. Now, I want to come back to to Booker T. Washington, because as I was growing up, you know what they were telling me about Booker T? That he was an Uncle Tom. Now, brothers, if you a revolutionary, you don't want nothing to do with Tom. Did you see Django Unchained? Did our brother play Tom to the max? Even an Uncle Tom watching that movie would be ashamed. Now look at this. Uncle Tom played his role. But to classify Booker T. Washington as a Tom, what was that designed to do? Oh, please bear with me, brothers and sisters, and pardon me because I'm very passionate about what I have in my heart to say to you. If Booker T. Washington was a Tom, then we look away from him. And when you look away from Booker T, you look away from the ideas that Booker T. Washington was the architect of. He loved black people. He knew how to maneuver. See, what was that man in Roots? Chicken George? You thought George was a Tom, but George knew how to maneuver. Did Chicken George play the violin? Oh, he played it, didn't he? Fiddler. Yeah, the fiddler. See, he knew what to do, because the master loved music. And it's written like that in the scripture. Our fathers went down to the ocean shore looking for the ship Jesus that brought them into slavery. And the scripture says, by the rivers of Babylon we wept when we remembered Zion. We